Hey guys, I'm Danny, and since this is Easter 2025, happy Easter to everyone who is celebrating. And I want to give you, though, a different story, an alternative story that makes a lot more sense to me than the one that I grew up believing in. So there are two parts to this, and I have an announcement at the end. Long ago in a faraway land, there lived a group of common people. They were farmers, fishermen, shepherds, mostly illiterate, and they were ruled by a very educated hierarchy of priests and judges. And the people needed the priests and judges and would take the best of their crop and the best of their flocks and their tithes and offerings to the priest, and the priest would sacrifice to God on behalf of the people so the people's sins could be forgiven. And the people needed the priest, and they knew that because the priest told them so. Now, this elite hierarchy was the one that interpreted the law of God to the people, and they taught and enforced it. And everything in that culture revolved around the law of God and keeping it. What you could eat, drink, wear, and daily rituals and traditions that had been passed down dictated daily life. And there were annual festivals celebrating great things God had done in the past. And every parent was commanded, you teach your children to fear God and to obey the priest. And obedience, it was non-negotiable because God had declared,
"You do not obey me, I will cause terrible things to happen to you. I will send diseases and kill you slowly."
So while the common people lived lives of fear and poverty, the elite priesthood, they were living lives of wealth, power, and prestige from the tithes, offerings, and sacrifices that the system required for the people to bring them. And no one dared question what the priest said if you wanted to live, because God had declared,
"If your very own brother, son, daughter, or the wife you love, or your closest friend secretly says to you, 'Let us worship other gods,' they must be put to death. You are to cast the first stone, and then the rest of the people."
Now, when you stop and think that these doctrines, which are just beliefs, are planted into the minds of every child in that culture by good, loving, well-meaning parents and by society in general. And once the doctrine has been accepted as the identity of the child, this is who I am, the child has been successfully indoctrinated. And since the entire culture went through this same indoctrination, they have created their own collective shared reality. And it divides us from everyone in every other shared reality. In this same process, this is true of every single fundamentalist religion. They pledge their allegiance then to the system, which has become their reality and their identity. And when we understand this, we begin to understand that Jesus came to save us, but not the way we've been taught. Well, if you agree with the concept about part one, well then part two as to why Jesus actually came and what his mission was will make a lot more sense. When he came, he didn't go to the high priest or the council. He went to the common people who were oppressed by the doctrines of the priesthood. And he told the people that the priests were blind guides and a den of thieves and snakes. And he said, beware of their teaching or their doctrine. And he likened it to leaven or yeast, which you put a little bit of yeast in a lump of dough, it spreads and fills the whole thing. And if we take their doctrine of God's separate from us and he's angry and he's holy and unapproachable and we're sinful and our hearts are deceitfully wicked and we need to take our best lamb or something and have it sacrificed to have our sins forgiven, well, that's going to fill your spirit, soul, body, everything, and in fact, the whole collective consciousness of the nation. And back then, another thing, nobody dared call God my Father because he was unapproachable. But Jesus did, and they tried to stone him for it. But he told us to call God our Father, and he changed the whole perception of how we look at God by telling the parable of the prodigal son, who did everything totally wrong, and yet the father ran to him, loved him. This is how Jesus told us to think of God. But religion can't exist if we're empowered and we don't have to fear God. He inspired us, Jesus did, by telling us we can become like he is. He taught his disciples, a disciple is not above the teacher or the master, but every disciple that's fully trained will become like the master. And he even said we can outdo the things that he did or even greater works than he did. And he told the woman at the well when she asked, which temple is the best to worship at? He said, God is spirit. You don't need a temple. You don't need to go here or there to worship God because you are the temple. And he taught the people that the kingdom of heaven is within us. And when he went to the temple and he stood against the priest and he told them, he said, you're keeping people out of the kingdom of heaven, and yet my friends, thieves and prostitutes, they're finding and entering the kingdom of heaven ahead of you. Now, Jesus was a gangster, man. He stood up for the oppressed people against this powerful priesthood.
Your obsession with what is clean and unclean goes farther than God intended.
Take it back. Right now. Recant your insulting words.
Oh, I am just getting started.
So maybe Jesus came more to set us free from religious indoctrination and mind control than to start another religion. But whether you like this, that I'm saying, or hate it, I'm going to be doing a live stream, and it's going to be this next Friday. That's April the 25th, 2025. And it's going to be at 3 o'clock Central Standard Time. And I want to invite you, whether you're a fundamentalist Christian or a fundamentalist atheist, because I think Jesus has a lot to offer. And we've thrown the baby out with the bathwater because he's been blamed for so many things that he never said or never did. So join me then and let's talk about it. And if you like this video, or don't like it, if you do like it, give it a like and please share it and join me too. Let's talk. I'm not saying I'm right or have all the answers because I don't. Nobody does. Nobody really knows. But if we can get a dialogue going, maybe we can help heal the world because, boy, we need to heal the world for sure.